I landed in Malawi on 26th of April 1982. Wait. So I said, okay. He said, come, we want to talk. So I got out of the car. Now I couldn't leave. They said, these people maybe are going to hijack me or what?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Da'wah Legacies with your host Abdullah Panjwani and one of the most special and legendary personalities in the field of Da'wah, Sheikh Sa'ad Al Talib. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
How are you doing? How is
MashaAllah, very well. Alhamdulillah. With the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is keeping us very well. Alhamdulillah.
Subhanallah. So now, whenever we're starting our podcast, we want to just start with a few light-hearted questions. One of the kind of questions that we are going to begin with are quick-fire questions. So I'll ask between two options, and then you tell us which is your favorite. Okay? So Bismillah. Akni or biryani?
Biryani.
Biryani. Mashallah. Okay. Apple or Samsung?
Samsung.
Samsung. And last but not least, tea or coffee?
Different time, different options.
Makes sense, mashallah, because it seems that you've got such a huge passion, an amazing passion for da'wah. So it makes sense that sometimes tea, sometimes coffee.
Correct.
Regarding this passion that you've always got for da'wah, was it something that was taught, something that was instilled, something that was influenced? Where has this passion come from?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I'm very pleased to meet you, Brother Abdullah, the son of Brother Abbas, the son of Brother Ibrahim Panjwani, who was and still the legendary of Da'wah in Malawi, and I have learned a lot from him, and I'm still learning from the memory-wise. May Allah put him in the highest place in Jannah and rest his soul in peace, and give success to all his family, inshallah, until Yawm al-Qiyamah, and offspring till Yawm al-Qiyamah. In my opinion, the passion for Da'wah is an inspiration. It comes to the human being, obviously to the Muslim, at a certain time of his life, from childhood to young age, teenager could be, your college or other time, a businessman in his business at a time. So there is no limit of the spark of the da'wah when it comes. It could come to it at a different time to different people. In me, it came to me in the high school, which is almost the most important maybe age of activities. We know the very most important ages are from cradle and preschool, nursery, preschool, primary onwards. But this is a crucial time of teenagers where you can shape now the mind and direct the personality. So I had the spark of that also through listening to some da'wah activists and how they were talking about the dunya and the akhirah and linking the dunya and the akhirah. So I think for the first time I could see something new. I heard something new. So then I thought about it, what about if I become one of them, that I also become a Dawah Man. Hence, the life started to shape itself from that time. That's around 1975, perhaps.
Wow, 1975.
Exactly what 50 years ago.
Mashallah. Like you mentioned, Dawah Man.
Exactly.
I think that's something that could encapsulate
exactly
you.
50 years ago, yes.
Now, one thing that I've always wondered and thought, and I've always wanted to discuss and ask you, as a proud Malawian, a third generation Malawian, alhamdulillah, who always will and currently is and always used to consider Malawi to be home sweet home, why did you choose Malawi to come to? And is there anything specific about Malawi that you enjoy or that you've got a specific passion, affiliation to?
Good question. I was graduated at Qura University in the Faculty of Islamic Study and Humanities in 1982. In 1981, the graduation took place, but to get the formalities of certificates and looking for your future, the 81 passed to come to 82. Then I thought about Dawah in Africa at large, and I decided to volunteer 2 years of my life into Africa. And initially I chose Kenya and Mombasa to say that, because I read a lot of history about Kenya at large and Mombasa in particular, and I found in some history in Mombasa I could contribute to being an Arab origin. And then my mentor advised me and directed me to Malawi. He said, in Kenya we have so many da'is, in Malawi we don't have, you go to Malawi. Now you can see how the importance of a mentor. He will direct you to the right place, the right decision, and how the mind is focused and broad to see where to direct the resources. So I learned from him. That was my first lesson, directing the resources. If somebody is somewhere, you must go somewhere else. If somebody doing something, you do something else without wasting time or duplicating all the effort. So hence Malawi was mentioned, and then I landed in Malawi on 26th of April 1982, proudly to say your late grandfather, the marhum Ibrahim Panjuani, the legendary of Malawi, came to Chaleke Airport and received me on 26th of April 1982. And I always tell your grandmother, may Allah give a long life, that my first meal in Malawi was at the Panjuani's, Ibrahim Panjuani's and Sister Roshan Panjuani's house.
Alhamdulillah, you've always been a very close family friend to all of us. And because of that, we've heard so many different stories and incidents and learned so much from you, alhamdulillah. Now, just for the audience or even for myself, every time I'm with you, alhamdulillah, I'm always learning something new, whether it's a life lesson, whether it's an incident. So is there any one particular da'wah incident that sticks out to your mind? One of the most influential ones, one that touched you the most?
I would say in the remote areas where people hardly, those days, I'm talking now 42 years ago, not now, with the social media, people see the whole world every day. But 42 years ago, where people were isolated. So I went to a very remote area in the north, and young children or young boys were playing football in the village. And you know, those days, until now, the football is the same plastics and trays and all that, locally made, not made in China, made in Malawi. So then I stopped my car and I called them, and then I gave them the da'wah of the deen, the da'wah of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they all embraced Islam. Wow. I shook their hand, I hugged them, takbir, Allahu Akbar. I was so happy, so pleased. My tears, you know, that I came from different parts of the world to this part, people embrace Islam. I was so happy. So then I put myself in the car and I said, Assalamu alaikum, Ameen. So one of them, young, energetic boy, said, wait 1 minute. So I said, okay. He said, come, we want to talk to you. So I got out of the car now, I couldn't leave. He said, these people maybe are going to hijack me or what? I said, brother, now you made us Muslims and you want to leave us. What next? That was, I think I was tearing when I had this. Oh, what next? So there is a lot of responsibilities in every action you take in your life, in every activities you do, in every plan you do, in every achievement you do. It has to be continuous effort, continuous plan, continuous contribution, continuous support from all parties and all partners. That is, I think, one of the very exciting points in my life, and I learned a lot from it, that responsibility will never end until you close your eyes.
And that's something that Alhamdulillah Ayera try their best to focus on when it comes to not just helping people become Muslim, but also then being together with them, having outreach specialists with them, having du'at, new Muslim support officers, consistently, Alhamdulillah, trying to follow up with them and develop their iman.
Correct.
Now, regarding Ayera, was it something that you heard about from the time it started, or how was your first introduction to Ayera?
I think it could be from the time it started. We met people from Australia, New Zealand, I think at that time, and then long time ago. And then the communication stopped. And then eventually, when they came to Malawi, then I could link to what I have seen, and then we started to communicate with Ayera Malawi and coordinate some of the activities together.
Alhamdulillah. And what has your best memory been with Ayera, or what have you seen within Ayera that you feel is something that's special?
I think, to answer this question accurately, what I like in Ayera is it is success of drawing a good crowd of donors around the world. The success of any organization is how they can draw donors to their programs and plan continuously, the consistency we were talking about. So I think Ayera, for many reasons, which we can talk about it later on, that they managed to draw to their side a lot of donors around the world. And I think Ayera has, Malawi, I talk about Malawi, what I'm saying, Ayera Malawi has a good support, good financial support from the donors. That obviously empowered Ayera Malawi and maybe worldwide, enable them in Malawi to create a strong team, management team and a field team at a cost from the donors. So I think the donors play a major role in supporting the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through supporting Ayera or through supporting their choices, as long as they continue supporting and contributing. Then the work, I think, will move from success to success, inshallah.
Very wise words, mashallah. And that's something that, like I mentioned earlier, we're always gleaning wise pearls of wisdom from you, alhamdulillah. And just for everybody else, or for myself also, if we do want to start getting involved in any other da'wah organization, or we want to start our own da'wah organization, what piece of advice would you have for anybody in that regard?
I think to get all the pieces together, you have to get, you see, if you do what you like on your own, then you end there. That is what you like. Who said others would like the same? Oh, but I want it to be promoted. Okay, fine. Do you have the resources to promote it? No. Do you have the manpower? No. Do you have this? You have that? No. So how do you do it? So therefore, whatever you want to do, you have to convince at least a group of people. And those people, they could be a supporter financially, other supporter maybe planning, other supporter with experiences, other supporter with the planning. Then you can move ahead. But if you just get the spark that let me do this, and you just jump, it will die. Like a birthday cake candles, it will die very very shortly.
Now, generally, when it comes to so many different organizations that you're involved in, alhamdulillah, what has been one of the most memorable situations that you've seen, that you've learned a lesson from, not only within the public, but just within an organization that you've seen?
I think a very general point you are mentioning, but very wide point. Let me just narrow it down to say, almost every organization is specialized in something. So if each and every organization succeed in getting partnership with other existing organizations to complement their effort, it will be great. So I'll give example between, for example, Zamzam Africa and Ayera. Ayera specializes in da'wah, not in building mosques. So they make people Muslims and they educate them, they contribute whatever they can, and then obviously they want to move ahead. So they pass that information to us and to many other organizations. We are mosque building organization. We got good donor support of building mosques. So on our list, always Ayera location as priority in our list. And I think so far we built tens of them in the Ayera's, they call them Ayera's location. So this complementary role that you make the people Muslims, we come to put the mosque, great. We don't have donors for classrooms, for example, or house for the muallims. If we can find other organization, other donor base to support us with the muallim's house, classrooms, then we can also build them next to those mosques. So we have Ayera making the da'wah, making them Muslim. We have Zamzam building their mosque. We have ABC coming with the house of the muallim, and DF coming with the classroom. Then you have created, I think, a dynamic society in each and every village you are present there. You will really touch their life forever.
Now, obviously, you have been involved in so many organizations and you've seen so many different kind of du'ats, so many different kinds of da'is, specialists. Is there one quality that you feel is extremely important for anybody that wants to begin this work of da'wah, or anybody that's out in the villages, something that somebody wants to inculcate in their lives before spreading da'wah?
I think the passion for da'wah has to be there. You see, to get du'at, as a job, it doesn't work. You can find any other job. I would suggest rather to him, go and find any other job. But to be just a job for the salary and looking after the welfare of your family, it doesn't work. He just fulfilled his job as a job. But if he has a passion, then obviously the salary is a must to look after the family. That was no dispute about it, no doubt about it. But that passion make the life of the da'wah person, man or woman, throughout his life, 24/7, his mind is on the da'wah, in his with his family, with his neighbors, with his village, wherever he go. He is a da'wah man. What is the da'wah? Da'wah is to present the best of what you believe in. We believe in Islam, we have to present the best, practically, obviously, and theoretically. So also, I think encompass a lot of responsibilities on the Dawah Man and on the Dawah organization at large, because the Dawah Man has to be also fit personally, will be equipped economically, perhaps financially, mentally, so he can also practice the Dawah. If he is very poor, for example, he cannot invite people to his house to have a meal. Your grandfather, Marhum Brad Panjwani, his house was always open for visitors, especially when visitors come from overseas. We only knew his house. We didn't know that time any other house. He was the only one inviting the people comes from overseas. Then he invited everybody locally, and mashallah, the meal was always in abundance. If he was a poor man, he'll remain great. It will not reduce his greatness, but that facility won't be available. Then we have to find a hotel, restaurants, this and that. Also, his house was all the time as a host house to many visitors of the world. The least I can mention, the marhum late Ahmed Didat, the legendary Ahmed Didat of the day. He was staying at your house for weeks and weeks when he came to Malawi. The marhum late Ibrahim Amod, and many names I could mention that stayed there and did their job. So I think it's a way of life. You have all the time to empower the Dawah Man and all the time to train the Dawah Man to practice Islam on himself, on his environment, on his family, on his neighbors, on his village, on his town, and finally in his country as well.
Alhamdulillah, this has been a really enlightening and heartwarming episode, Alhamdulillah, and it's something that I feel that we've learned a lot from, not only me personally, but I'm sure everybody out there also. Jazakallah khair so much for everything, and I'm sure this is just the beginning. I don't even know how we'll be able to cover all the points that I would love to cover. You know, there's so many more things that I would like to discuss.
Inshallah, we'll do it continuously. As time goes, we'll do regularly, inshallah.
Inshallah. Now, tying into our name of the episode of the podcast, Da'wah Legacies. What one quality do you feel is extremely important for a person to leave behind for the future generations to come as a legacy?
Excellent question. And recently we were discussing the word legacy and the concept of legacy. What is legacy? Most of the people, they think, maybe they believe, legacy is to leave your name. And then people will now build a memorial hall for you, memorial classroom, memorial school. No. That is an old-fashioned, old understanding of legacy. Legacy is to leave a way of life that can be emulated and continued. So to do that, you have also to link it to a policy of your work. Ayera should emphasize on the policy. What is Ayera? What is their policy? How they do the work from A to Z. So today we have founders of Ayera still alive. In years to come, Allah give them long life, they may not be around. Then we need to know how they succeeded, which policy they followed, that it had to continue. And part of the policy is the procedure also. The procedure is changeable continuously. Policy, you also changeable, but in a slow motion, in a slow way. So you need to emphasize on policy, procedures of Ayera, of Dawah work. And you develop it all the time, then you will continue. Otherwise, a lot of organizations spark for so many years, but because they did not emphasize policy, procedure, way of doing things as a system, they did not create the system, then it went down. You must always remember, theoretical life, it's almost equal to a technical life. If you remember how the cell phone came into our life, the Nokia came with a small phone like this, just to talk to each other. Then SMS was created. Then when the WhatsApp started, then they came with the, what they call that, BlackBerry. It was talk of it. Then eventually the WhatsApp came. Then eventually the screen smartphone came. Then the camera phone came, also on the Nokia, then it was developed into the WhatsApp. Today you have a podcast, today you have this, you have that. They build their strength on registering, recording, preserving, developing, whatever they learn through their technical life. Hence they succeed all the time. In Islamic work, charitable work also, because of maybe lack of resources, lack of understanding, lack of appreciation, we don't document what we are doing and how can we improve and how can we grow. We only think that we are doing it fi sabilillah and that's it. We don't need to document it. We are doing it to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that is it, but we don't document it. Don't you think that we are working with the same intention to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but if we die, our work is stopped? How about if we leave a continuous legacy through policy, procedure, way of life, and people benefit from it? Don't you think the thawab will be much more than if it is stopped? Many legendary people died. They did not document those kind of things. Many organizations were established over the years and they closed down after the founder or the next generation takes over because there is no strong ground for the organization to continue. Therefore, you have, when I was in London a month ago, I went with a plan to visit the Cambridge University. What is special in them that throughout the world, their syllabus are being taught from nursery to high school. Then obviously they will enter any universities in the world, including Cambridge. And my children also studied Cambridge. So I discovered that these people have about 8 centuries of history, Cambridge. 8 centuries of history. They have everything documented. They have full teams of everything. Curriculum development, research on this, research on that, and all the time they upgrade the curriculum. All the time they come with a new version, the new edition. For us, I think we are somehow, some way, which is a long subject, we'll discuss it in more details, we are stuck to a certain blockage in our mind, in our understanding of the deen. We are unable to get out of this blockage. Hence, we need to unblock it and unblock this to move ahead, inshallah. May Allah give us the success.
Amen. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you infinitely in your health, your wealth, your ilm, your time, and all the beneficial endeavors you pursue and are currently pursuing. Jazakallah khair so much for everything, Sheikh. This has been one of the most special episodes of Da'wah Legacies with your host, Abdullah Panjwani. Jazakallah khair to everybody out there who has continuously been supporting us and been with us from day one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for even more exciting podcasts. And on that note, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.